Coming up tonight, a major drug bust in Andros today with police taking 6 Jamaicans into custody. Our news was on the ground in Andros. The details are on the way. Plus, protesting independent contractors feeling a sense of satisfaction after meeting with beaches and parks officials. And Miss Bahamas Universe is ready for the international pageant. She says she is not afraid. This is our news weekend edition. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Megan Shepard. A marijuana field of some 4 acres has been discovered by police in North Andros. Our Sasha Lightborn on the ground with police there and filed this report.
In an operation which started weeks ago on the ground, police made a massive find of more than 4 acres of marijuana plants ranging in various sizes in North Andros. The trek took us from the North Andros Airport to the bar community, otherwise known as the Bahamas Agricultural and Research Center. From there, we traveled down a long dirt road, stopped, and then had to continue our trek on foot for approximately 2 to 3 miles. The team that traveled from New Providence flew into the island, headed by Assistant Commissioner Ken Taylor and Drug Enforcement Unit Head Chief Superintendent Roberto Goodman. Goodman picks up the details on the massive find from there.
Sometime around the earlier part of last week, would have received information reference to a suspected marijuana field being cultivated by a number of persons in the North Andros area. As a result of the information received, a plan of action, a strategic plan of action was put into place where a joint operation was put into place by the Drug Enforcement Unit Office along with the Real Crime Time Center, along with officers from the Criminal Record Office. As a result, sometime 2 days ago, the Drug Enforcement Unit Office would have came into this area where they would have conducted surveillance. While in there, they would receive some additional information, which resulted in 5 males, Jamaican nationals being arrested for cultivating these fields.
Goodman says the 6 men range in age from 40 to 57. And as for the estimated street value?
At this time, it's difficult now to give the estimated street value because it's 4 acres, like different sections and different acres of land here, as you could see. So we'll have to uproot those plants and count them individually, and we'll be able to give you the estimated street value.
Now, officers also shared some insight on the process of drying the plants and cultivating the seeds. The plants are picked and hung upside down to dry out, after which the seeds are collected.
The seeds are marijuana seeds in this makeshift tent, yeah? You want to see the cut them?
Goodman also said the DEU remains committed to enforcing the law with respect to drugs in the country until the law says otherwise.
We have a mandate in the Drug Enforcement Unit as long as someone deal with illegal drugs or distribute illegal drugs. We're here to enforce the law. As long as the law is on the books, then we'll enforce the law and bring those persons to justice.
Now, Goodman shared that this was a joint operation by DEU officers based right here in North Andros, as well as officers from several other units. He also said that those 6 men could be arraigned in a magistrate's court as early as this week. Reporting from North Andros for our news, I'm Sasha Lightborn.
A man lost his life after his vehicle went out of control last night. Head of the Traffic Division, Chief Superintendent David Lockhart, told the media that it was shortly after 8:30 p.m. when the incident took place near Charles W. Saunders Highway.
On arrival, the police found a single vehicle off in the center of the median of Gulf Coast Boulevard. At the time, it was occupied by a single male that was trapped in the vehicle that had to be extricated with the use of jaws of life from the fire department. As a result of the collision, the single driver received serious injuries and was transported to the accident and emergency section. What I can confirm now, it has been confirmed that he is deceased. We will still be waiting proper identification once next of kin have been notified.
Lockhart explained that he could not confirm if speed was a factor until a thorough investigation is conducted.
I can't tell you at this juncture whether speed is a factor, but certainly we're going to look to see whether speed contributed to it. So that's as much as I can tell you. We don't have anyone who was in the area when the collision actually occurred. So we would like to put an appeal if there was anyone in the area that may have seen the collision, if they could contact the traffic division at 397-8050.
Independent contractors who have been protesting for weeks now over outstanding payments owed to them finally meeting with officials of the Bahamas Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority. Protest organizer Richard Johnson says they met with the executive director and managing director to discuss some of their issues. Johnson says the meeting was a productive one.
They would have had 2 exercises or 3 exercises where persons who had to come in and verified all over again. And so there's a bulk of persons who did verified and did not get paid. And so they still have to be paid, and they will be paid with our discussion this morning. And so we will hope that that process moves very quickly.
Johnson says while there is no definitive date for when those payments will be made, all of those verified protesters will receive payments.
There are different categories of people with the authority. There are persons who had duplicate contracts. There are persons who never got paid. There are persons who are working and didn't, had no authorization. So there are different various categories of contractors. And so persons who would have verified and who have completed the application, they will be the ones who the authority will obligate to pay in this first batch of payment.
Still to come right after the break, we're going to head down to Grand Bahama to tell you all about the East End Rake and Scrape Festival and learn all about Carla Campbell's Art Empowerment Workshop. That's coming up when the Weekend Edition returns. You're watching our News Weekend Edition. Welcome back. The East End community in for a treat this coming August 27th as the East End Rake and Scrape Festival is expected to be an exciting display of Bahamian culture. Committee Secretary Raquel Aubrey gives a hint of the lineup.
There will be live entertainment by a variety of Bahamian artists such as D-Mac, Melody, KB, and Gino D, who will travel to Grand Bahama for this unveiling and the rebirth of High Rock. We are looking forward to flavorful, delicious, and food that is indicative of the Bahamas. We are looking for a family, fun atmosphere. Come on out with your entire family to enjoy the festivities.
Elaine Smith of the Ministry of Tourism noting that these types of events provide uniquely Bahamian experiences for visitors to the Grand Bahama shores.
The festival are designed to heighten visitors' experience, increase visitor spend, and drive economic growth. Having an extension of festivities also create an atmosphere for participants to feel the rhythm, culture, and character of East End Rake and Scrape, uniquely packaged into the down-home flavors of Grand Bahama.
Island Luck continuing to be a good corporate sponsor on the island of Grand Bahama. The organization hosting their annual back-to-school giveaway yesterday, complete with fun for the entire family. Manager Kevin Roberts shares the details.
We have school bags, we got pizzas, we have drinks, we have characters here. It's the all-day event. I want to say, if you missed this event this year, please come back next year, okay? This will be an annual event, so you'll be back here again next year, same time, same place.
Carla Campbell's Children's Voices Art Empowerment Workshop uses art and literature to help young people find their creative voices. Campbell says participants gain self-confidence and become more confident learners during the 4-week camp.
The data is already there to show that using art and performing arts and the arts in general, I would say, positively impacts students.
Participants from various backgrounds experience an immersive blend of painting, drawing, crafts, printmaking, and other activities that bind art and literature. 14-year-old Kristen Cox says completing her art pieces during the workshop has brought her a sense of fulfillment.
I feel a sense of accomplishment, and when I get compliments on how good my work is, it just makes me feel good.
You can view Kristen's work along with others on exhibit at the University of the Bahamas' Harry Seymour Library beginning this Monday between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. until August 19th. And still to come, when our news comes back from the break, it's summer and everyone wants to get to the beach. We have some swimming safety tips coming up. And speaking of tips, know just how to keep your house safe in any type of weather. We have the details when our news weekend edition returns. In the past several weeks, there have been several drowning incidents across the country. In light of those tragic situations, a swim instructor is providing some key tips that can possibly save a life. Italia Hall has those details.
Knowing how to swim can make a difference between life and death. Swimming coach Dylan Brown says it's important that parents ensure that their children are supervised while swimming.
You don't want to say you're not sending your child out to have fun, but you need to know what system they have in place for the safety of your child. Like I said to you, are they going to have lifeguards on duty? Who's going to watch your kids? Who's going to make sure that they know the areas in the pool and all of that. So as a parent, that should be your first line of questions when it comes to your child going to a water situation, a beach or a pool.
He says in some instances, children feel peer pressure while swimming.
I've seen over and over where some kids might see those who can swim in the deep side, and they want to be on the deep side. They could swim a little bit, but then, the depth and all that requires you to be a little bit stronger. And that is when we have situations where kids are drowning. And it's normally, once a kid gets into a drowning situation, if you have like a group of 14-year-olds or 10-year-olds, it becomes a situation of shock.
Now, Coach Brown says children can learn how to swim from they are 1.5 years old, as he says swimming is a lifelong skill.
There are different programs here. There are programs, Mommy and Me, and they start them like some at 6 months, some at 8 months, but ideally I would say 18 months. But there are programs in the Bahamas that offer that to parents.
Now, here in the Bahamas, a lot of children are self-taught or are taught by their parents how to swim. But he says that's not always the right way.
I highly recommend to parents to have their kids, in a program. I mean, it doesn't have to be, there are government programs, there are clubs that offer different programs, learn to swim programs. Just get them the basics, so that when that skill is required, they can get to safety.
Reporting for our news, I'm Italia Hall.
Thanks, Italia. Good job. Nuisance flooding has become just that, especially on the island of New Providence. But as Christina Dragovich tells us, there are steps to keep your home, family, and business safe in any weather.
Heavy downpours or hours of rain have left some areas repeatedly flooded as summer storms move through. It may be the result of climate change, according to founder and managing principal of Braun, Carlos Palacios.
These flooding events that kind of were a lot of uncertainty around them, but they happen quickly and they're impacting us. And I'd say this is probably more than we've ever seen.
Colorado State University is predicting 20 named storms this year with 10 hurricanes. But even without hurricane activity, activity in the area, Palacios reminds Bahamians it's never too early to prepare. So, what should you consider?
If you have people in your house who can't swim, make sure that you have life vests and things like that available. 2, sandbags always help.
If your home or neighborhood sees flooding, part of your hurricane or storm preparation should include rubber boots to prevent electrocution. And if you're not a homeowner yet, Palacios says you may want to take a closer look at your outlets before purchasing or building your home.
If you are designing a house or you're looking to do remodeling, I'm suggesting, and we're seeing it's best practice, to actually move your outlets higher, because this obviously can help to eliminate some of the risk around electrocution.
Braun is no stranger to disasters, working with hurricane preparedness plans and post-hurricane assessments. Palacios says if you don't already have a hurricane preparedness plan or checklist, find NEMA on Facebook, download and fill it out for your family, home, or business. Reporting for our news, I'm Christina Dragovich.
Nearly 3 years after Hurricane Dorian ravaged parts of Abaco and Grand Bahama, many are still reeling from the tragedy. In this report, our Berthany McDermott tells the story of one man who lost everything.
As the nation prepares to remember the devastation of Hurricane Dorian, one survivor is recounting the tale which he says he still remembers as if it were yesterday. Strong Towers Ministries senior pastor Stephen Knowles paints the picture of having to swim to shelter in the immediate aftermath of the storm.
All of the shelters were destroyed. There were thousands of people in the street when the eye had passed over. And I remember climbing a hill only to find more than 40 other persons trapped with nowhere to run. Looking to the left and seeing hundreds of people in the street running from what was the hurricane shelter. Looking to the left, which takes me to Marsh Harbor, and not being able to recognize the landmark. It was all gone.
Noel says the ocean came inland and recounts seeing sharks swimming while hearing the screams of those in the mud and the Pigeon Pea, an area completely flattened by the monster hurricane. While swimming in search of safety, Knowles recalls running into some challenges, but knowing that giving up wasn't an option.
I remember coming and remember swimming with all my might and hitting my head on the lump pool, getting trapped with a wire, and feeling like I was going to die, but knew that I couldn't die because there was so much people waiting for me.
Hurricane Dorian was a Category 5 hurricane packing up to 185 miles per hour winds. The Inter-American Development Bank estimates Dorian caused more than $3.4 billion worth of damage. Once the all clear was given, Knowles decided to stay in Abaco after ensuring his wife and children were safe in Nassau. He explains that as a community leader, pastor, volunteer firefighter, and first responder, he felt obligated to stay behind. However, days after the rescue, the Abaco native had an accident, injuring his left foot.
I remember days in the rescue, we were just about to try to unravel a heap of debris to remove a body that was in the debris. And we thought it was a body based on the stench. My left feet was hanging off of the backhoe, and all of a sudden I felt like the left part of my body had gone to hell. I felt this amazing heat went down the left side of my body. Then I realized that my left foot was being crushed between the backhoe and the plywood.
Despite the injury, Knowles never removed his boot and spent days on the island with the injury until the mental toll from the storm became too much to bear. He then came to Nassau, where a doctor finally removed that boot, and the realization of the injury of his foot sank in.
To save my left feet, I had to do more than 7 surgeries. More than 285 rounds of physiotherapy. This month is going to make 3 months since I've been in my own shoes.
He is one of many who want to return to Abaco but is unable to. He says the upcoming events to commemorate the lives lost give him and other survivors the comfort that they've not been forgotten. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Thank you, Berthany. And still to come, the Dream North Foundation giving hope to foster children. And Miss Bahamas Universe is off to compete internationally. She is ready. She says she's not afraid. Those details straight ahead when the weekend edition returns. United States-based foundation is working to bring a message of hope to foster children and at-risk youth in the Bahamas. Our Christina Dragovich speaks with the founder of the Dream North Foundation about her mission on the ground.
Thinking of them. That's why we are producing these type of programs. We want to remind them that they are loved. We want to share, like my family, I have 20 people from my team from the United States who are coming out here to show them we care.
Dream North Foundation founder Nicole Lene says that's the message for at-risk youth in the Bahamas, as her foundation creates opportunities and support for them. Lene grew up in Los Angeles, California, where she says things were not always easy.
I grew up in, if you want to say, the hood or impoverished conditions. I was very fortunate, but I still grew up around gangs and things of that nature. And while I grew up with my mother and I had a parent, I think when you are exposed to hard situations, it's easy to think that you can't have what you want. So it's easier said than done to say, oh, don't go join a gang, or oh, don't be violent, or don't steal when you are hungry and you don't have any food in your home. I think in those type of moments when you are faced with adversity, what good do you want to be? What good do you want someone to show you?
Lene published her first book in 2020, Forgotten Babies, about a young girl who grows up in foster care. Now literacy is a huge part of her mission.
We want to promote literature, being creative, and I'm an only child, so that's what I would do. I would write and I would be creative, and I would entertain myself, but also I would dream.
Lene is hoping a shift in mindset will lead to a ripple effect throughout the community.
You see the old lady walking with her groceries, ask her if you can walk them home, and you may get blessed with some food when you were hungry from the beginning. You know, we have choices, and while those choices may not seem apparent in the moment when you're struggling and seeking survival, I think we are all born innately good. We all have good in us.
And there's more on tap for the Dream North Foundation. Lene says the foundation is also working with the Bahamas Bridal Association to create a dream wedding for a survivor of abuse. And she hopes to be a helping hand in the community for years to come. Reporting for our news, I'm Christina Dragovich.
Awesome initiative. Thanks, Christina. Rain showers earlier today, and currently there are some balmy breezes outside. With just a few hours left in the weekend, let's check out the weather forecast to see what we can do. She is no stranger to pageantry, but this may be her biggest stage to date. Tonight, our Jamila Mizik talks to Miss Bahamas Universe 2022, Angel Cartwright, about her journey to the world stage as she prepares for the Miss Universe pageant.
The new Miss Bahamas Universe 2022, Angel Cartwright, will compete internationally at the Miss Universe pageant next year. Her platform, promoting conservation and preventing climate change.
I believe that the Bahamas has an exceptional opportunity to be the spokesperson for the region when it comes to climate change. I had the opportunity to speak with the Prime Minister recently this week, and he was named the United Nations representative for the region. And I believe that that is very important because the Bahamas is a nation of shallow waters. Climate change is going to affect us first, and I believe that it's important for us to speak up for ourselves and to encourage climate change prevention globally.
And while this is not her first pageant experience, she shares her journey to getting to the Miss Bahamas Universe stage.
I would definitely say the key to my success has been surrounding myself with people that I would consider guardians that have pushed me through the peaks and valleys of my life. I believe that it's so important to surround yourself with people that believe in you in the moments when sometimes truly you look and you're like, can I really do this? And surround yourself with people that see what you can be, see your potential, nurture your potential, and yeah, that's how I got to where I am.
The new queen says she looks forward to representing the Bahamas on the Miss Universe stage, as she believes she has everything it takes to represent the Bahamas on an international level.
I know that it's a huge competition. I'm going to be competing against countries that have 4 and 5 times our population, but I'm not afraid. I know that I'm going to be prepared. I know who I am as a person. I know that I'm grounded in myself. I know that I've overcome so many obstacles to get here, and I'm truly confident in Angel Cartwright.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jamila Missick.
And lots of well wishes from us here at Our News. And thank you for joining us for Our News Weekend Edition. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepard. Continue to enjoy the rest of your weekend.